Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Transformer. So, so very recently, I started watching an anime. It's called The Ascendance of a Bookworm, and it's quite the wholesome, uplifting, sweet, compassionate, loving type of anime. It's every episode I feel good after having to watch it. It's very slice of lifey, non-violence, very good, very pure, very wholesome. And the anime is about a woman who lives in modern day Tokyo and then dies in an accident and then finds herself reincarnated as a small child in a fantasy world, and she has this love of books, and that's basically the premise. I don't really want to say more, but that's what's the Ascendance of a Bookworm anime is all about. Now, I guess it would be logical to say that watching this anime should be easy. It's very wholesome, should be very, very easy to swallow, and for 99% of the time, it is. Until I managed to get triggered once during the entire anime. It's shocking. This anime should not be triggering anybody, but yes, it has triggered me. And what is the trigger? Well, okay, I'm going to try to set the stage. So, in this stage, the protagonist, the lady who got reincarnated into the fantasy world, she gets assigned three retainers as part of her job as a priestess. And one of the retainers is a rebellious 10-year-old boy. He doesn't want to have anything to do with her. He doesn't even like her when they first met. But he's not getting any food. He's starving because in this world of Bookworm, it's up to the person who the retainer serves. In this case, the main character, it's up to that person, the priestess, to take charge of the needs of the retainers. So basically, this 10-year-old boy has nowhere to turn for food because everybody is like, well, you work for this lady now. Go ask her for food. That's how it works in the anime. Don't ask me why. So the kid is starving. And there's a scene in the anime where she basically says a line, and this line is what triggered me. She says, "He who does not work, neither shall he eat." So, he who does not work, neither shall he eat. And she says this to this 10-year-old boy in an attempt to kind of like get him on her side. Like, I'll take care of you, but, you got to do your job, basically. And this thing triggered me. Oh man, it took me a long time to figure out why this one line triggered me so badly because he who does not work, neither shall he eat is a very, very dense line. It's pretty much, I'm looking at it as a very oppressive kind of thing to say. Because let's flip the script on its head a little bit. In the anime, when she tells this 10-year-old boy to work for her, and she'll feed him. The boy drops his rebelliousness, takes her up on her offer, and it's happily ever after, right? But let's imagine a scenario where the boy refuses, continues with his rebellious ways. Am I to believe that this very sweet, very wholesome character, the protagonist, and this very sweet, very compassionate anime that's very uplifting, is willing to let a 10-year-old boy starve if he doesn't work for her? Like, imagine that. Imagine that it's not that the boy just resists. Like, is the anime really gonna go the distance and say, yeah, you're gonna starve? And for me, that's what triggered me because it's pretty crazy. Because the world of this anime, Ascendance of a Bookworm, assumes that he would take her up on the offer because he doesn't want to starve. Doesn't see any other alternative. Doesn't seem like it's not really acknowledged how dense and how oppressive the idea of work or you'll starve is. You know what I mean? Now, I think the scariest part is that there is this concept of work or you'll starve in such a wholesome, in such a loving, in such a compassionate anime. I would think the anime is perfect except for this one little bit. And the reason why I bet you nobody when they hear this line would even blink. I mean, we live in a society today where it's common sense, common knowledge. If you live in a Western country or Western adjacent country, it's sort of the default. You want to eat? You go work for food, work for the money to buy food specifically. And and nobody seems to see anything wrong with it. But I do think there's something wrong with it in this day and age because the whole idea of work or you'll starve just doesn't really apply. I mean, apply to the wider world. I mean, what if you can't work because you have a disability or some such, or for some other reason? What if you can't work because there's simply no jobs? What if the work sucks and it's torturous? What if the work is kind of like slavery? What if you can't work because of your environment? Maybe you're you're living in one of those war-torn countries right now. There are many, 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 many reasons why someone can't work for food. So does that mean it's right for them to starve? I'm really leaning towards no, it's not right to let these people starve. Now, I don't know exactly what I can do about it, but I do know a triggering phrase such as, he who does not work, neither shall he eat. At least I'm conscious of it. I'm conscious of how deeply oppressive something like this sounds, how very dense this sounds, and the fact that it's gonna go over most people's heads is, I think it could be an issue. But I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that working for food only serves the powers that be. And the fact that such a concept exists in a very, very, very sweet and otherwise uplifting anime like Ascendance of a Bookworm, and not get, how should I say, and not have any reflections on it is telling of how much this whole work for food thing has been drilled or brainwashed into everybody's heads. I mean, this is supposed to be an anime where everything is kinda perfect. There are trials and tribulations for sure. Nothing is wholly given, wholly perfect. There's some friction, otherwise it would be pretty boring to watch. But it's one of those animes that you know things will turn out at the end. Not because of luck or not because of raw grit. It's just because of the characters. Like the characters in this anime are all very, very, very nice, with a few exceptions. By the way, I'm close to the end of season 2, so I haven't watched the whole thing. Maybe it'll take a darker turn later, but right now I don't really know. But right now, everybody they meet, with the exception of one person, is all so very nice. They would bend over backwards if it means helping somebody. They're willing to. They're willing to really offer themselves, like be compassionate. They're really supportive characters. All these characters, not just the main character in Ascendance of a Bookworm, is like that. There isn't really a bad person, with one exception. So, in this world of so much goodness, so much purity, so much compassion, there is still the idea that if you don't work, you'll starve. There is still that idea that doesn't get examined in the anime. After the main character says that phrase, it gets repeated in other episodes too. And nobody really bats an eye. It's just common sense. And I find it a little disturbing that the idea of work or you'll starve is in such an otherwise wholesome anime. I don't know. I don't know how else I can feel about it, other than disturbed by how embedded the idea is to work or starve, how embedded it is in our society that an anime can be considered wholesome, even with that concept in it. Whew. So yeah, I just want to get this out there today. If you find this material good, food for thought, then consider hitting the like button. And make sure to subscribe as well. So, yeah, that's all I have for today. And this is Spiritual Transformer, and I will see you next time. Peace.